Thursday, I finished up my sermon from Micah chapter 3, and I was really excited about it, all printed out, all ready to go, because it's such an interesting chapter. I'm just loving this journey through Micah. And I was really looking forward to preaching that. Don't worry, I'll preach it next Sunday. I'm not going to waste a printed out sermon already, so we're going to hit Micah 3. But then on Thursday evening, I watched in horror, as I'm sure many of you did, as these tragic events unfolded in Dallas. And I just could not believe it, and it really troubled me. As I said in my own life, I've got a lot of friends in law enforcement. We have people within this church in law enforcement. And I started thinking about all the people I know in law enforcement and people here in Union County, and Richwood, and Marion County, and Franklin County, Columbus Police Department, the Franklin County Sheriff's Department. I've got friends in all those places and all the agencies here. And I've got a lot of African American friends, and I thought, how in the world has the country come to this? What in the world is going on? And I was just torn up. I mean, to the point of tears. Just upset me terribly, and I was up till after 3 o'clock in the morning just watching and thinking, how can this be happening? How can this be going on? And I got up the next morning, and I was still upset about it. And I thought, I have to say something. And so Micah chapter 3 got shoved aside, and I thought, dear God, what passage can I use? And I started thinking about other passages in other prophets, and I started thinking about the Gospels. And I don't know how I came to this passage other than the fact of verse 26 in the King James. And I thought of that for some reason. Because in the King James Version, which we hardly read anymore, it says, from one blood he made all men. From one blood. And that just struck me right to the core of my being. I thought, that is a powerful imagery. From one blood he made all men. And so I started reading that passage, and I thought, will this fit? And I thought, yes, it will. And so I called Barbara, and I told her, because I knew she was the liturgist, and I knew that she liked to read those things ahead. And I told her what I was going to do. And I struggled with that passage, and I struggled with it. And I didn't print a sermon out. I got an outline here. And I thought about it yesterday. I kept thinking about it. I didn't have an outline. I didn't know what I was going to say completely. You know, pastors joke about a Saturday night special. I mean, we really do. That's every profession has its inside jokes. And pastors joke about a Saturday night special. And there's been sermons I preached here that felt like when I was done with them, I preached a Saturday night special, and I'd worked all week on it. But this was starting to feel like a Saturday night special. And I kept thinking, dear God, what am I going to do? And so I got my notebook out that I keep beside my nightstand in case I need to write something down. And the pen ran out of ink, and I've got all kinds of scribbles across the top where I was trying to find a pen that would write. And I started putting this outline together. Now, at first, I thought that I might skip the first part of that passage. Then I thought, no, I can't skip that part because this part's really important. In that first part of the passage, when Paul stands up to address the Athenians, he says, men of Athens, I know that you are very religious. And I thought about the fact that they were religious. And then I thought about what Paul was going on to say. And Paul was going to tell them that while they were religious, they didn't know the true God. And I thought, that's important in this day and age. Because sometimes we just go through the form and the ritual. Sometimes we're just religious. We haven't built any relationships. Sometimes we just do the liturgy. And we don't have any love. And I thought those words were important. So then I thought of Paul's words where he says that people have a form of godliness but deny the power thereof. And I thought, that sometimes happens to us. We say that we know God. We say that we're followers of Jesus Christ. But our lives don't reflect that. We deny the power thereof. And I thought, no, this is an important part. This is where we have to start. Because we have to stop being religious and be real about these things. Because this is a problem that politicians are not going to fix. They're not going to fix it. The thing about politics, and you know I love politics, I'll talk politics with anybody, any place, any time. I've gotten in trouble so many times talking politics, but I can't help myself. But politics is not going to fix this. Politicians are not going to fix this, because one of the things that politics is dependent upon is adversity. Politics works when you have an opponent. You rarely see an election where someone's running unopposed. I know it happens, but you rarely see that. So politics involves an opponent. And what happens with these opponents is that sometimes they will take a side, they'll take a position, even though it's not really theirs, but it's the opposite of what their opponent has. And so when that's the case, nothing gets done. And so politicians are not going to fix this because they're incapable of it. This is a spiritual problem. This is a problem that God will fix and can fix. And God works through his people, his followers. And that's us. And so it's a problem that has a lot of political ramifications, but it's a problem that politics cannot fix. By its very nature, it cannot fix this problem. Because people will not give up their agenda. They just won't do it. So it's not going to get fixed that way. God has to fix this. So I thought, boy, that's a great place to start, because we got to stop being religious and be real about this issue. Stop going through the form and giving lip service and do something real as followers of Jesus Christ. And so then Paul begins to tell them, you know, I see that you're religious, and you're so religious that in case you miss a god somewhere or a goddess, that you have erected a shrine to an unknown God. And then Paul begins to tell them that the unknown God is the one true God. You've erected this shrine to the unknown God, and you don't even realize you've erected a shrine to the one true God. And Paul begins to tell them about the one true God. And he says that from one blood, God has created all men and all women. From one blood. I tell you, I like that. I like that. In the creation story, some people are reluctant to say that we have a piece of God within us. And I understand that. I've been reluctant to do that, but as I thought about this, question over the years, you know, I return to the creation story. What happens in the creation story? God forms Adam, and he's lying there. We don't know what, there's obviously no pictures of it, but Adam's lying there. And here is this man that God has created, and he's lifeless. So what does God do? Do you remember what God does? What's he do? Does anybody know? Just say it. He breathed the breath of life into him. God breathed life into him. The breath of God animated Adam. God brought Adam to life with his own breath. The breath of God went into Adam. From one blood, God created all nations. And that means, if you can think of it this way, that the DNA of God flows through all of our veins. The DNA of God flows through all of our veins. From one blood, the breath of life, God created all humanity. That's powerful, people. When you think about that, sometimes the King James is a little inaccurate. But boy, I tell you, this time it hits it just right. And I started thinking about, he said, let us create humanity in our own image. Male and female created he, them. Now, again, that's the King James Version. The syntax is a little crazy, but it's not how we usually talk. We would say he created them, male and female. But male and female created he, them. And I thought, what does that mean about the image of God? Now, we as Christians believe that Jesus Christ revealed God to us as Father, Son, and Holy Spirit free, co-equal, coexistent, relational beings, personalities within one Godhead. The three in one. And so the image of God is this eternal relationship that Father, Son, and Holy Ghost live in, exist in. And so the image of God is seen within us as God's people. No one person holds the image of God. You might have got up this morning and made yourself ready for church. You might have stood in front of the mirror and thought, wow, I look good this morning. I look really good. And you do. You all look really good. But God doesn't look like you. And thank God He doesn't look like me. It'd be scary. But the image of God is seen in the relationship. And that's why He says, male and female created He them, because He created us to live in relationship with one another. From one blood, He created all of humanity. And that's powerful. That's powerful. We live in a time where we become so concerned about building walls, and we see someone who's different from us. Now, I know I grew up in the country, and I know that in the country sometimes we're a little sheltered. We don't encounter a lot of people that are different than us. I understand that. I grew up, like I said, I grew up in the country. So I understand. But I've been blessed to encounter a lot of people that aren't like me. And I'll admit that when I was younger, I was 19 when I traveled to the Caribbean for the first time and fell in love with the place. And I encountered people who were different than me. And I had some fear about that. Had a lot of fear about that. I remember it. What I didn't realize at that time was to them, I was the different one. And they had a lot of fear too. And so we need to keep that in mind when we meet someone who's different. To them, we are the different one. Whether they live down the street, across the street, whether they're at work or wherever the case may be, or halfway around the world, if we encounter someone who's different for whatever reason, color of their skin, the language they speak, their country of origin, whatever it is that makes us different, we're different to them. Now, in that moment, we have a choice. We can allow our fear to get started building them bricks up, getting that wall, get it up quick. So I'll keep myself on this side of the wall, and the different one will be over on the other side of the wall. And that's what we do. That's what we do. We build that wall up, nice and strong and firm. We don't want the different guy getting around our wall. No one coming over, going under, round through, whatever. We want a strong wall because he's different. He's different. And that's the problem, because we have focused on the things that make us different. And we fail to remember that we've got the DNA of God flowing through our blood from one blood. The breath of life He breathed into Adam. From one blood He created all humanity. And we've got to stop building the walls. We've got to stop seeing the differences as something to be feared and see them as something to be appreciated. Because those folks that are different can teach us things that we don't know. And we can teach them things that they don't know. And we find that as human beings, we have so much more in common. Human beings everywhere want to be free to live. They love their spouses. They love their children. They love their mothers and fathers. They love the country in which they live. They love their friends. They want to be at peace. They want a chance at life. Who among us doesn't want those same things? The things that are similar about us are so great. But see, we listen to the politicians. We listen to the politicians. And we're always going to be in opposition. Because that's what politics does. And it's time that we tear down those walls, people, because it's not going to get better if we don't. It's only going to get worse. Jesus built bridges. Think about the Gospels. We went through the Gospel of Mark. We're going to go through the Gospel of John in a few weeks, or start through it in a few weeks. We've gone through several books in the Bible, and think about the life of Jesus. Jesus built bridges. He reached out to the woman at the well, the woman who was there because no one in her village wanted anything to do with her because she was of ill repute. And so they would not go to the well when she was there. Jesus went there and encountered her and built a bridge to that woman. And what happened? You read that story there in John chapter 4. Her village was changed because of it. He caught the woman, he encountered the woman who was caught in adultery. These men, they were waiting to just stone her to death. And Jesus built a bridge of grace and love to her. And they went away. The men went away because they realized that they were just like the woman. Whenever Jesus said, let the one who has no sin cast the first stone. The lepers, Jesus embraced them, and other people would see them from afar off, and they'd go out of their way to stay away from them. They didn't want to touch them, didn't want to have any contact with them. Jesus embraced them. Zacchaeus, we sing that little song about him. What's he up in the sycamore tree? And it's a fun little children's song. But Zacchaeus was a tax collector. People hated him. His own countrymen hated him because he worked on behalf of the Romans. And they hated him. Tax collectors have never been loved. But they hated him. What did Jesus say? Jesus said, Zacchaeus, get down out of that tree. I've got to go to your house for supper. And that's what the charge was. One of the charges was the religious people to whom Jesus tried to build bridges said he eats with sinners. He eats with sinners. Well, folks, I got news for you. If we make that one of the criteria for eating a meal, none of us will ever eat with anyone else again. We'll all eat alone. Every single one of us. If we cannot eat with sinners, we'll all eat alone. We sure will. Jesus built those bridges. He built those bridges. He told them about the Good Samaritan when they believed that no such thing could exist, no such person could exist. And he built those bridges. And he gave his life and built the ultimate bridge. The bridge, Paul says, that reconciled us to God. He reconciled us to God. He brought us together. I love the Beatitudes. I quote them quite often when I preach. One of my favorites, quickly becoming my favorite Beatitude, is blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called the sons and daughters of God. They will be called the children of God. How do they get named as a child of God? Because they're a peacemaker. They seek to make peace. And that's what we have to do. It's up to us. It's up to us to reach out to those ones who are different than us. And not do it with fear and trepidation, but do it with excitement and expectation, knowing that we're going to learn something, and knowing that we're going to have the opportunity to give something in return, something that they don't know. Because from one blood, he created all of humanity. The DNA of God flows through all of us. Flows through all of us. People, the world, our nation is in a precarious position. And we as Christians can't just give lip service to it. We have to take the lead in building the bridges. We have to do it. We have to find ways to do that. We have to find ways to do that. Because every person has the spiritual DNA of God within them. Every person matters. And we've got to reach out to them, no matter who they may be or what we may think of them, and understand that they are our brother, our sister, because from one blood, he created all of humanity. And they share the blood that we have. And so we have to reach out to those ones who are different than us. We have to seek to make peace. If we really want to be the sons and daughters of God, it's what we have to do. It's what we have to do. In him we live and move and have our being. We are his offspring. Therefore, since we are God's offspring, we should not think that the divine being is like gold or silver or stone, an image made by man's design and skill. In the past, God overlooked such ignorance, but now he commands all people everywhere to repent. For he said a day when he will judge the world with justice. I'm going to stretch the meaning of verse 30 a little bit. In the past, God overlooked such ignorance. It's time of looking past our own ignorance is past. It's past. We've gone along blindly. We've got to open our eyes. We've got to see the truth. And the truth is that from one blood, he created all of humanity from one blood. And if the church, if the followers of Jesus Christ are not going to take the lead, then who is? What does it mean to love our neighbors ourselves? This is the time, folks. This is the time when that really means something. It always means something, but this is the proverbial, the rubber meets the road. And we've got to take that lead. We've got to stop being suspicious. We've got to stop building walls. We've got to start building bridges and inviting and being a part of and opening our hearts and our lives to those who may not be like us. We've got to invite them in because they're part of our family. They're part of our family. For from one blood, he created all of humanity. Let us pray.